morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to East Rose Fellowship Unitarian Universalist. To all of those here and online, you are welcome with all that is your life. I'm Carol Knox, your worship leader for today, and our speaker is our own Reverend Landerman Zucker. Her topic for today is Stubborn Flowers with the Wisdom to Survive. This is Flower Communion Sunday, and of course Mother's Day, and the speech choir is performing, so we have a very exciting service for you. Now, please take a moment to offer respect and appreciation to the indigenous people whose traditional homelands and hunting grounds are here, where we gather each Sunday. In remembering these communities, we honor the legacy, their lives, and their descendants. Let's take a moment now to greet each other, both here in the chapel and online. Please stand, face the cameras by the clock on the back wall, and wave hello to our friends online. Next, turn to your neighbor and say hello. For our online guests, if you would like to share a joy or sorrow later during that part of the service, you can do so by entering it in the streaming chat. They will be shared aloud with everyone. I also encourage you to identify yourself in the chat so we may better acknowledge your presence with us today. Our responsive reading is the symbolism of flowers. The words are on the screen. I'll read the first line, and the congregation will please read the next line, and so on. Flowers awaken joy.
May joy enliven us.
Flowers give us hope when life begins anew each spring.
May hope bloom anew on our hearts.
Flowers offer a message of kindness.
May we feel compassion for others.
Flowers speak the language of love.
May we express our love for one another and bloom where we are planted.
Luna and Tyler, are you singing? Okay.
Spring clad all in gladness, doth laugh at winter's sun.
No matter what they tell you, let it be about joy. Let it be about the sacred, self-surviving, no, thriving, shining its way to the knowledge within. Let it be about blooming.
Thank you, Carol. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This beautiful day. We finally have nice weather. How lovely. How many of you got to see the Northern Lights on Friday night? Yeah, I didn't, but I hear it was something. Wow, what an opportunity. Our opening words today are called Like the First Hint of Green by Jennifer McLaughlin. As the first hint of green begins to peek through the barren ground, as that little sprig grows into a healthy stem, as that stem grows into a stalk and then forms a bud, as that bud slowly opens each new day to form a yellow daffodil. Let us be like that first hint of green, renewed by the warmth of the sun's rays and ready to emerge with new energy, ready to face the day. There's a lot of flowers and weeds in the service today. Both equally good. We believe in the worth and dignity of all things that come out of the earth. So our first hymn, fittingly, is number 63 in the gray hymnal. The words will be on the screen. Spring has now unwrapped the flowers. Please rise as you are willing and able.
For today's flower communion, the speech choir requests that you consider the, quote, lowly weed. Roses, peonies, lilies easily seduce, but the weeds provide survival wisdom. To a Weed by Gertrude Hall.
You bold thing, thrusting 'neath the very nose of her fastidious majesty, the rose. Even in the best ordained garden bed, unauthorized, your smiling little head.
The gardener mind will come in his big boots
and drag you up
by your rebellious roots
and cast you forth
to shrivel in the sun, your daring quelled, your little weed's life done.
And when the noon cools and the sun drops low, he'll come again with his big wheelbarrow
and trundle you.
I don't know clearly where, but
off.
Outside the dew, the light, the air.
Meantime,
yes.
the air is very blue.
And gold the light.
And diamonds the dew.
You laugh and curtsy in your worthless way, and you are gay.
Oh, so exceeding gay.
You argue.
In your manner of a weed,
You did not make.
yourself grow from a seed.
You fancied.
you've a claim to standing room.
You dream.
Yourself a right to breathe and bloom.
The sun loves you, you think.
Just as the rose.
He never scorned you for a weed.
He knows.
The green gold flies rest on you and are glad.
It's only cross old gardeners find you bad.
You know, you weed, I quite agree with you. I'm a weed myself, and I laugh too, both just as long as we can shun his eye.
Let's sniff at the old gardener trudging by.
Weeds by Edna St. Vincent Millay.
White with daisies and red with sorrel, and empty, empty under the sky. Life is a quest and love a quarrel. Here is a place for me to lie.
Daisies spring from damned seeds, and this red fire that here I see is a worthless crop of crimson weeds, cursed by farmers thriftily.
But here, unhated for an hour, the sorrel runs in ragged flame. The daisy stands a bastard flower, like flowers that bear an honest name.
And here a while, where no wind brings the baying of a pack athirst, may sleep the sleep of blessed things, the blood too bright, the brow accursed.
Long Live the Weeds by Theodore Rothke.
Long live the weeds that overwhelm my narrow vegetable realm,
The bitter rock, the barren soil,
that force the son of man to toil.
all things unholy, marked by curse, the ugly of the universe,
The rough, the
the
weak,
wicked,
and the
the
wild,
wild.
that keep the spirit undefiled.
With these I match my little wit and earn the right to stand or sit. Hope,
Look, create, or drink,
And die.
these shape the creature that is I.
May We Raise Children by Nicolette Souter.
May we raise children who love the unloved things,
The dandelion,
the worms,
And spiderlings.
children who sense the rose needs the thorn and run into rain-swept days the same way they turn towards the sun.
and when they're grown and someone has to speak for those who have no voice, may they draw upon that wilder bond, those days of tending tender things
And be the ones.
I invite you now into the quiet time that we share together. A time that isn't about words. We're a very wordy denomination. I went to a program yesterday morning at one of the Quaker meeting houses in town, and we were joking again that they say UUs are Quakers who can't shut up. I gotta say there's maybe some truth in that, but we're gonna be quiet now for a little while. So I invite you to unfold your hands and maybe put them softly on your lap and close your eyes. Soften your shoulders, soften your face, your jaw, drop your shoulders. Take a deep breath. Put your feet on the floor, feel yourself grounded to the earth. See if you can sit up straight so that it feels like there's a string on top of your head, kind of pulling you up into a straight position. But don't let that tense your shoulders, drop your shoulders. Big exhale. Just a big exhale to start. As we begin our rhythmic breathing, 4 beats in through your nose, 5 or 6 beats out through your mouth. What you're looking to do here is soften and create spaciousness from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. So breathe, 4 beats in slowly through your nose, 5 or 6 beats out slowly through your mouth in a steady stream. Just breathe. No high thinking, no problem solving, just breathing. While you breathe, I offer this meditation, garden of your mind. What are you growing in the garden of your mind? What do you water, nourish, feed? Do you plant seeds of forgiveness, of love, or do you fertilize seeds of anger, resentment, fear? What are you growing in the garden of your heart? Do you allow sunshine to reach dark pain in the corners of your heart? Do you allow tears to wash it clean and nourish it? Or do you put up fences to keep out the feelings? Do you get on your knees to grow your own food, decide what it is you want in your soil, know what you are cultivating, what you are growing? A lot can take root in the garden of your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit, if you let a seed nourish it and allow it to grow. Slowly come out of your breathing exercise and come back into this space gently, and we'll sing our quiet song. You can remain seated. It's number 352, Find a Stillness.
Julio Polanco.
Let them be as flowers, always watered, fed, guarded, admired, but harnessed to a pot of dirt.
I'd rather be a tall, ugly weed.
Cleaning on cliffs like an eagle, wind wavering above high, jagged rocks. To have broken through the surface of stone, to live, to feel exposed to the madness of the vast, eternal sky, to be swayed by the breezes of the ancient sea, carrying my soul, my seed, beyond the mountains of time or into the abyss of the bizarre.
I'd rather be unseen, and if seen, then shunned by everyone, than to be a pleasant-smelling flower growing in clusters in the fertile valley where they're praised, handled, and plucked by greedy human hands.
I'd rather smell of musty green stench than of sweet fragrant lilac, if I could stand alone, strong and free.
I'd rather be a tall, ugly weed.
Weeds, Carrie F.
I ran there today.
In one of those moments of euphoric need, I wanted to see the view they told me that was so appealing.
I ran there today.
And even though I was accompanied by several strangers, they were invisible to my eye, so the lake's peaceful atmosphere wouldn't escape me. As sweet classical music whispered melodies in my ear, a solitary canoe sent soft ripples from the path, and eyes locked on a view framed by the most beautiful mess of weeds on top of the hill where I stood.
This was so much prettier last year.
They need to mow this whole hillside.
I guess those melodies weren't whispering loud enough if I could hear an invisible stranger's voice.
I loved those weeds.
You know when you see a cluster of friends together, and just by looking at them, you know that they each have a sense of belonging in that group? I don't remember what that feels like. There are pieces of me that fit into separate puzzles, but I have not found the one that rounds with each curve and shifts with each edge so perfectly that I am secure. So when I look at these weeds, I understand them, and even though they are spiritless beings, I can relate to them in a way I have never related to someone of my own kind.
I am not a gentle flower that must be nurtured to growth and bloom. I am the white dandelion you picked from a patch of grass as a child, so you can almost effortlessly blow every seed into the wind, scattering me in so many directions that my personas fall far from my roots. No two of them planting close together.
In college, I felt too goody two-shoes for the theater department, too eccentric for the fitness nerds, too simple for the city lovers, and too urbane for the country.
So, though you may think these weeds are chaotic
And ugly.
And unwanted, these weeds are life.
and they echo our time here, far better than the flowers or the grass you desire.
We are not clean. We are wild, confused.
And aching for the love of our onlookers, when oftentimes we are ignored.
Sometimes I whisper the words, I love you, into absent air, just to remember what it sounds like coming from my lips. The silence I hear in reply is a reminder that my words ricochet off of the walls and back to me, bouncing off of my ear's bass drum, a beat that lets me know I am okay. But this beat is one that most can't follow.
You see, within me are two opposing existences, both equally me.
But different nonetheless.
I am not emotional, but I feel all of life's idiosyncrasies deep within me. the light that peeks through my blinds as I wake in the morning, the solitary solidarity of a morning run when the town is still asleep, the sound of nature's white noise, the crunch of autumn leaves and twigs beneath my feet. I feel these things, and my heart swells with a sense of liberation with each experience, though I have not yet been liberated.
We
may not be pretty to you. We may not be cultivated.
You may think we are competing with your ideal aesthetic, but we're just trying to make it through this tangled life alive and well, while the rest of the world attempts to rid itself of us. Little do you know that we are your backbone.
We are your strength. We are independence. We are beautiful.
Don't
mow us away.
I'm Not Mowing the Lawn by Mary Oliver.
Let the grass spring up tall, let its roots sing, and the seeds begin their scattering.
Let the weeds rejoin and be prolific throughout. Let the noise of the mower be banished. Hurrah!
Let the path become where I choose to walk and not otherwise established.
Let the goldfinches be furnished their humble dinner.
Let the sparrows determine their homes in security.
Let the honeysuckle reach as high as my window that it may look in.
Let the mice fill the barns with a sufficiency.
Let anything created that wants to creep or leap forward be able to do so. Let the grasshopper have gliding space.
Let the noise of the mower be banished. Yes, yes.
Let the katydid return and announce himself in the long evenings.
Let the blades of grass surge back from the last cutting, or if you want to be poetic, the leaves of grass.
Now, it's my understanding that along with the flowers for the flower community today, there's a few dandelions in there. So I think people will appreciate the dandelions, and we ask that you take them during the flower communion also. Now, our last piece happens to be A Conversation with a Dandelion by Jim Yerman.
When I was young, I'd pick dandelions, pick them with a plum. I'd make a little bouquet and take it home to Mom. I never thought much about it, never saw the need. After all, they weren't really flowers, just a bunch of weeds. I was expressing that thought the other day when a dandelion overheard.
Excuse me,
He interrupted.
but your thinking is absurd. I am a lovely flower, grown from a beautiful seed.
I can't believe I was about to have a conversation with a weed. I spread out on the lawn and met that dandelion face to face. Okay, I'm listening, I said to her. Go ahead and make your case.
Well, without being too modest,
She began.
people pick me every day. And when they pick a lot of me, I become a beautiful bouquet.
How many times are we brought to a house and make someone's mother weep? Did you know I opened to greet the morning and in the evening close to sleep?
You can travel across the globe, searching everywhere, low and high, and you won't find another flower who can symbolize the sky.
When I am yellow, I resemble the sun as it shines in the heavens at noon. When I change into a puffball, I look just like the moon.
And I don't think I'm taking this comparison a bit too far when I say that as my seeds fly off, they look just like stars.
There is no doubt when I arrive, from the moment my blooms unfurled, I make people smile and bring beauty to the world.
Okay, you made your point, I said. There's nothing more you need to say. But I have to tell you, Dandelion, you had me at bouquet. So now I understand, and I'm on the dandelion as a flower bandwagon. Perhaps it's time I have a talk with that fly who thinks he's a dragon.
Every morning in the summer of 1997, I sauntered from the Charles Street subway stop at the foot of Beacon Hill to Massachusetts General Hospital for my chaplaincy training. It was not an especially scenic walk, nor finely landscaped, save for a row of young trees that had been set down in compact soil, compact cement circles, nestled in grooved pavement squares. We've seen those all over cities. We know what those look like. So you can imagine my curiosity one morning when I spied a sturdy green plant jutting from a sliver of dirt, struggling for air between the sidewalk and an opposing stone building facade. What is that, I wondered, as I swerved off course for a closer inspection. The plant was approximately 3 feet tall with multiple silvery green soft stems similar to the prized plant lamb's ear, which you buy in a nursery. And perched atop all but one stem was an unopened compact bud. Cornflower blue, squared off petals, the size of a coat button, not unlike an aster. My gardener's eye tried to identify it. It's nothing, I eventually surmised. It's just a weed. The next day, the lowly imposter caught my eye from nearly a block away. It had bloomed overnight and wore a veritable bonnet of blossoms, and my respect for the plant grew as I stopped to admire it. "You're a stubborn flower, aren't you?" I muttered under my breath. "A stubborn and beautiful flower." I thought about my patients waiting at the hospital and murmured, "You're a survivor. You're amazing." Weeds. I've heard a lot of wonderful things about weeds today. We have been conditioned, dare I say brainwashed, to appreciate and cultivate only the well-bred members of the botanical family, the fine roses, the graceful lilies, the amusing black-eyed Susans, the elegant peonies, the gorgeous array of flowers for our flower communion today. Weeds such as the kudzu, the clover, the ubiquitous dandelion, well, as Hugh Johnson sneers in his book, The Principles of Gardening, they are plants in the wrong place. Landscape spoilers. How peculiar, really, given that no matter how glorious the flower may be, all of them will soon shrivel and wilt. Surely weeds aren't perfect. Left unchecked, they do, in Johnson's words, starve, overshadow, or throttle the better things we are trying to grow. How judgmental. But can't we spare a little respect for the lowly weed? Especially like my cornflower blue buddy, it is often indistinguishable from the more exalted wildflowers. Of course, I'm up here giving a homily today, so there is a metaphor for our emotional and spiritual lives in all of this. Think of how our culture instructs us to tend the inner garden, cultivate the positive, the presentable, the non-threatening, weed out the fear, the grief, the anger, the difference, the despair. We are taught, don't let the weeds of doubt or sadness or vulnerability blur the outline or hide the desired effect. How especially difficult it is to keep up this charade under the current circumstances in our society. I submit that the scraggly workaday weed is as much a part of our inherent and blessed emotional and spiritual landscape as that eye-popping zinnia and that delicate hothouse orchid. As I see it, if we go around just yanking out our weedier feelings by the handful before we've even given them a chance or a glance or tried to appreciate their quirky beauty, we will be left with what Johnson calls meek little things that you need to coddle on a cold frame. No, we do not want the weeds of negativity, to starve, overshadow, or throttle anything. Not our faith, our relationships, our vision, our help, our engagement with the world. However, one might say that weeds themselves, with their unfair vigor and tenacity, are veritable ambassadors of hopefulness. As Johnson writes with unabashed respect, weeds hang on to their place in the garden when any well-bred plant would give up. And here we find another valuable metaphor for the tenacious, the resolute, the committed folks planted here in our congregation. Those who tangle around us like Virginia creeper on a picket fence, the lovers and dreamers who have refused to be weeded out or cultivated. You are all stubborn and beautiful and wise flowers with the wisdom to survive, to endure, and you're not flowers in the wrong place. You're amazing. Woven too into the trellis of this community are survivors of cancer and other maladies and misfortunes and mistreatments, people coping with some of life's toughest challenges, those with mental illness and their families, those within marginalized and marginalized groups who are under even greater duress in our embattled and beleaguered society. But you have refused to be weeded out or cultivated. You're stubborn and beautiful and wise flowers with the wisdom to survive, not flowers in the wrong place and not cold little, meek little things that need to be coddled on a cold frame. You've hung on in this garden, and we've all hung on in there together, and we will dance amid the kudzu and the columbine. The world needs stubborn flowers who hold their ground, pun intended. So I hope we will all bloom where we are planted, no matter the soil, and grow hopefully toward the sun in our own unique and weedy ways. And that will help others with less rich soil to do the same. For inspiration, consider a tie-dye clad child with bright blue Band-Aids on her knees from a colleague's reflection, in which she writes, "There are children all over the world, and some adults scattered here and there, who unfailingly will punctuate their lives and their days with sacred celebration and with rituals signifying joy, no matter what they have or don't to work with, no matter what the fury of the world outside is howling. They will savor life and breathe, and all their days, no matter what, they will deal with it. It's the only way some people know how to live," she writes, "with gladness and cacophonous color while chanting, 'This is the life I'd risk anything to save.'" Hearing these words, I'm reminded of that day back in 1997 when I spotted that glorious, triumphant, sassy weed in the pavement on Beacon Hill. Throughout that day, as a chaplain intern, I encountered dozens of predictable bouquets in rooms of my patients, and I smiled to myself, thinking about my stubborn flower with the wisdom to survive just down the street. And I imagined bringing a loved one a brazen bohemian bouquet of hardy, vigorous, well-adjusted weeds. "Here," I would chirp, "I picked these for you. They're weeds, but they're not all that bad looking. In fact, check out this silvery green one with the cornflower blue blossoms on top. Maybe you're feeling like a weed today, here in this hospital bed. So maybe they will inspire you. Maybe they will give you strength. Maybe they will feel like you are not alone. Maybe they will reassure you that although your weedier emotions seem undesirable compared to a bouquet of cheerfulness, you are not a plant in the wrong place. Maybe they will encourage you to live with gladness and cacophonous color, to send your seeds into the world in wondrous ways, shot out of tight, dark pods like confetti. Maybe they will help you find a way to grow by the side of a windy road or the top of a spine of stone, to find a way to love and be loved, to sing with bees and birds, exhaling breath as sweet as sleep. May you bud even in a weedy way, for budding is the beginning of blooming. As the poet Galway Cannell reminds us, the bud stands for all things, even for those things that don't flower, for everything flowers from within of self-blessing. Though sometimes it is necessary to reteach a thing its loveliness. May the day come for you, each of us, when the risk to remain tight in a compact bud is more painful than the risk it takes to boldly blossom. Even if what blooms is a wild and wondrous, wending and stubborn workaday weed with the wisdom to survive. Blessed be, blessed we, and amen. Our hymn is number 21 in the gray hymnal, For the Beauty of the Earth. Please rise as you are willing and able.
East Rose is a welcoming community in which we come together intentionally to accomplish and share that which gives meaning to our values. We share half of our cash offering with a nonprofit organization. This quarter, it is East County Rising Community Projects, which is the grassroots organization energizing East Multnomah County residents to create equitable, livable communities, centering on underrepresented and marginalized people. First-time visitors, you are our guests. Please let the baskets pass by. For those participating online, you may donate by visiting our website and clicking on the donate button, or you can scan the code on the screen. Let us now share what gifts we are able for the support of the fellowship. We now gratefully receive the gifts of this congregation.
For our speech choir. So wonderful to have you in the service. So I think many of you have been part of the traditional historic flower ceremony or flower communion ceremony in this or another UU congregation. Is there anyone who's never been part of a flower communion? Great, well, I'll be explaining it to you. So the flower communion service or flower ceremony was created by Norbert Chapek, who lived from 1870 to 1942, who founded the Unitarian Church in Czechoslovakia. He introduced this special service to that church on June 4th, 1923. For some time, he had felt the need for some symbolic ritual that would bind people together more closely. The format had to be one that would not alienate any who had forsaken other religious traditions. So he turned to the native beauty of the countryside for elements of a communion which would be genuine to them. And this simple service was a success. The flower communion was brought to the United States in 1940 and introduced to members of the Cambridge, Massachusetts church by Dr. Chapek's wife, Maja Chapek. Unfortunately, Maja was unable to return to Prague due to the outbreak of World War II, and it was not until the war was over that Norbert Chapek's death in a Nazi concentration camp was revealed. From this beginning, the service has spread to many of our Unitarian Universalist congregations and has been adapted along the way. People are asked to bring a flower of their choice, or many, as some of you did, either from their garden or from a field or the roadside, or maybe from some pavement in the city. During the ceremony, each person comes forward to select a flower from the communal vase. This signifies that it was by their own free will that they joined with others in fellowship to bloom where they are planted and to grow a garden together of love and peace. So today we celebrate this flower communion, celebrating the garden that is East Rose. Mary will play some music, and I invite you to come up the center aisle, come down and select a flower or two or even three. There's a lot of flowers. And then circle back around and come back to your seat. We'll start over here, and we'll just do it row by row. The flower communion.
We extinguish this chalice flame, daring to carry forward the vision of this free faith, that freedom, reason, and justice will one day prevail in this nation and across the earth.
And for all of you at home, we send you a virtual flower as part of our garden from afar. Our benediction today is by Nikita Gill. I hope you are blessed with the heart like a wildflower, strong enough to rise again after being trampled upon, tough enough to weather the worst of summer storms, and able to grow and flourish even in the most broken places. So may it be for us. Blessed be, blessed we, and amen.
A shelter from the storm. It exists to give you comfort. It is there to keep you warm. And in those times of trouble, when you are most alone, the memory of love will bring you home.
Perhaps love is like a window, perhaps an open door. It invites you to come closer. It wants to show you more. And even if you lose yourself and don't know what to do, the memory of love will see you through.
Oh, love to some is like a cloud, to some as strong as steel, for some a way of living, for some a way to feel. And some say love is holding on, and some say letting go. And some say love is everything, and some say they don't know. Perhaps love is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of pain, like a fire when it's cold outside, thunder when it rains. If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, the memories of love will be of you. And some say love is holding on, and some say letting go. And some say love is everything, some say they don't know. Perhaps love is like an ocean, full of conflict, full of pain, like a fire when it's cold outside, and thunder when it rains. If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, my memories of love will be of you.
Thank you, Luna and Tyler. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, John. Thank you, greeters. Thank you, Kathy and Tara, back in our religious exploration room. So many people go into growing the garden that is East Rose, and it's wonderful to see. I have two quick announcements, and I think Carol has one. I don't think there were any. You don't have any announcements? No. There were no written announcements. I don't know if that was a mistake. It's so unusual. I wanted to say a couple things. On Tuesday, this Tuesday, I won't be having lunch with the minister because I won't be here. But the following 2 Tuesdays, I really invite you to come from between 12 and 1:30 just to talk, to be together, maybe to talk about some thematic things, but really just an opportunity to be in community during the week. Of course, the choir, and also I hope you saw in Petals the notice about the band being revived and the form you can fill out. Luna is the person behind this wonderful effort. If you play an instrument, it would be great if you got in touch with Luna, filled out that form. I think we're going to have some written ones as well. And then we can have like a wonderful folk orchestra / band in the service also, and just broaden out our music, our ways to be in community, and our time together. And I believe there are no other announcements, so Carol can end things for us.
The service is now ended. To those of you online, goodbye. Until next Sunday. To those of you here at East Rose, you're invited to stay for coffee and conversation. We hope to see you all next week. Bring a friend, and happy Mother's Day.